This is the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema camera. It's several years old, and this is the Canon EOS-M. It is also several years old. However, both of these cameras are capable of shooting raw video. Granted, this needs a a custom firmware installation to record raw video. But both of these cameras are capable of shooting raw video, and they're both less than, or can be found for less than, $500. Crazy, right? Let's hop in and see what these cameras can do. Alright, so when it comes to raw video, this is definitely harder to set up because you need to take the custom firmware from Magic Lantern's website and install it onto a memory card, put it in the camera, and then update the camera with the SD card installed.
So you can keep me inside the pocket of the ripped jeans, holding me closer till our eyes meet. You won't ever be alone. Wait for me to come home. Loving can heal. Loving can mend your soul. And it's the only thing that I know. I swear it will get easier. Remember that with every piece.
Whereas with the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema camera, that's a mouthful. It comes with RAW already installed.
And it's the only thing that's with us when we die. Keep this love in its photograph. We make these memories for ourselves. Where our eyes are never closing, hearts were never broken, time's forever frozen still. So you can keep inside the phone.
You will need, in order to record RAW on either of these cameras, a UHS 3 card. So it has to be fast enough to actually write RAW to the card. And there is a small chance that this card will blow up or explode using the Canon EOS-M because, well, it's just not meant to be used in this way. But that's what you do with it, because we're poor and cameras are expensive. So, both cameras shoot in 1080p. However, the shooting experience is much better on the Blackmagic because it actually shoots RAW and it's supposed to do that. Whereas on the Canon EOS-M, you might experience a few glitches when operating the... You might experience a few glitches while operating the Magic Lantern software. Whew. Magic Lantern, Blackmagic Pocket Cinema camera, Canon EOS-M. Say it really fast, 5 times fast. Whoa, hello, okay. So another thing you'll notice is that the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema camera has a tiny little sensor. It's a 16mm sensor in there, which means you have a 3 times crop factor on your lenses, which sucks. It means you could be like over here across the room, and with a 15mm lens, you're shooting 3 times that. So, it's basically this, because I'm doing 15 to 45 on Canon EOS-M, so your standard lens would look like this on an APS-C sensor. And instead, on the 16mm sensor, you're shooting like this. Whoa! That, and it's all jittery because there's no stabilization. So if you want to use this, definitely consider getting a, maybe 14mm, which, will give you 45mm. And something that's not 58mm, because that's what I used when I was shooting test footage. I had this old vintage lens. It's a Helios 44M-4, which is 58mm. And while it shoots great on the Canon EOS M50, which I'm shooting on now, you cannot get any good footage on this with that because it's so cropped in and there's no stabilization. So the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema camera has a micro four thirds mount. There's a wide selection of micro four thirds lens options, and the Canon EOS-M line doesn't have many lenses, but you can always adapt to EF and EFS lenses, as well as vintage lenses, which is what I've done for my Canon M50. Now, when it comes to editing the footage from these cameras, you need to install DaVinci Resolve for the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema camera, and for the Canon EOS M, you have to install the Magic Lantern video app. Both of these are free, and the EOS M, actually, surprisingly, is much easier to edit. You just throw your clips in, you can edit one, and then apply the changes to all your clips, whereas the Magic Pocket camera, you have to learn DaVinci, which can be pretty confusing, but it's also a lot more flexible than the Magic Lantern application, because it's actually created by a group of people who are an official company and all that good stuff, whereas this camera does not have software that's, made by a company that, gets paid. So, which one is for you? Well, price-wise, this one is more expensive. It can be found for $500, and typically when you buy it, you'll get it with about maybe five batteries. I have 4 there, and there's one in the camera. And the reason for that is with this camera, you typically get about half an hour of shooting, and the battery, while it does give you an actual percentage, from 0 to 100, while it's in the camera, it's not always that accurate. I found that putting it in, taking it out, turning the camera off and on, the percentage changed a lot. And it was like, it started at 80%, and then I turn it off and turn it back on and be like 60. And it's like, wow, that's great, thanks. The Canon, on the other hand, doesn't give you a percentage. However, you'll probably get about the same amount of battery life. And I actually got 2 batteries with this camera. One of them was a Japanese knockoff, which, is fine. I guess it's better than just one battery by itself. And so, battery life, they're about the same. But for $150, I got 2 batteries with the camera versus $500, 5 batteries, which gives you more shooting time on that, but considering that you may only be shooting in RAW or ProRes on this one, then you might get less. Also, you'll need more memory cards for both of them, because RAW takes up a lot of space, which brings me to my big complaint, is that if you want to shoot with either of these, even though they're budget friendly, you're going to need more hard drive space, so definitely invest in a hard drive. I have one over here. See this? This is like a terabyte, and already it's like almost completely full, even though I've had it for a whole year. And wow, I think that wraps it up. Also, the Canon is better because you can shoot photos and video at the same time, or not at the same time. It does multiple things. It's a mirrorless camera, whereas that you can only shoot video. It does have a time-lapse feature mode, but that's not a deal breaker, because that can do it, I think, on Magic Lantern. It also has more updates coming out where this is discontinued, and it's probably never going to receive an update. Maybe, possibly it will. Probably not. I would get that. It's cheaper. If you're going to experiment with RAW, just do that. Or just get neither of them, because I'm going to sell both of them. Bye! It's been great. Have a good one. Yeah.